Good morning. Welcome to the Naked Zoo News Review with Adam Dreyfus.
And once again, Jared Dreyfus.
Back from his vacation, his hiatus.
A brief hiatus and a pleasant one.
Yeah, you needed it. You know, you work so hard. You pay your dues, and you got to do what you got to do.
Well, this one we're starting to do this on a regular basis on the household. It just turned out to be a wonderful break from both our jobs and from taking care of Mom and from the whole 9 yards, and it just worked great. So we're going to pencil that in regularly.
Yeah, but who ends up suffering because of this, huh?
You
Me.
get to have your roommate here. You have a wonderful time. People call in. It's just, come on, don't grind me on this.
I got to get lots of lead time because I might not always be able to get someone to come on with me, and then it's me for an hour, and Dad's off romping around, having a good time.
Yeah, but the last time, what? This is ancient history. Last time Robert was here, everything was fine. Why do you bring up this old stuff? Open these old wounds.
I just like
Pull
the
off
fact
these
that
old scabs.
I just like the fact that I get to give my dad a hard time alive on the air, and so I sort of look at any opportunity that I can to sort of maybe give you one in the chops.
That's fine.
We are a live show here at 90.5 KWMR. Our phone number is 663-8492. If you want to join us, we're going to be talking sports. We're going to be talking news. But first is sports. And, well, we'll just jump to what's the biggest news in sports, do you think, that happened this week, besides the NCAAs, which we'll get to shortly?
Oh, boy, well, you just sure knocked the breath out of me there. If you'd have stopped there, biggest news in sports, I might have had a shot with something about the NCAA, but take that away and what? Tiger Woods is 5 down in whatever tournament he's playing right now? I don't know.
Hey, I'm not a golf fan. We're not going to be talking golf here. Bob Knight's back in basketball.
Bob Knight's Texas Tech.
Bob Knight, the famous former coach of Indiana.
For whom Adam is a leading apologist.
I'm not his leading apologist. I just think he gets knocked around a lot. He's the one, for those of you who are not terribly familiar with college sports, you've seen him many times. He's the one who's always been shown throwing the chair across the court, yelling at the officials. He's the one who grabbed that kid around the neck and was fired after 29 seasons in Indiana, 3 national championships. There were riots when he was fired. He is a deity in college sports. He is the general. He is about as popular and successful a basketball coach that this nation has ever seen. But he does seem to have a temper of sorts.
Yes. Anger management issues is what we say in Marin County.
There was a very interesting article recently in Playboy magazine. They did their Bob Knight interview, and 2 or 3 times during the interview, he flips out and threatens the reporter and says he's going to make him walk home and wants the tapes, and this is just sort of, they're trying to rehabilitate his image. And
anger management issues.
Yeah, he does. So one supposes that he won't be able to keep it together entirely just because...
He never has. He finally was fired after 29 years and 2,900 warnings from everybody because he just kept on ignoring them.
I think part of the deal is that
he has no control.
He has plenty of control, but because he's in such a high-profile position, that whenever he does have an outburst like this, and in 29 years he's maybe had a half a dozen that have warranted sort of media scrutiny.
Or made public.
But the guy has one of the most successful programs in college basketball for the last 29 years as far as graduating seniors.
This is the leading apologist.
I'm just saying that there's 2 sides to every story. You got a lot of programs where they don't care. They're just using the kids up. The kids don't get an education.
I heard of one where the graduation rate was 7%.
Yeah, 7%. Now, Stanford's is 100%.
Stanford's is 100.
But that's Stanford. Kids are going there.
Well, they don't let them in only because they can play basketball.
Right. But Bob Knight, I think, ran something like a 98% over 29 years.
This is good stuff.
It's good stuff. His school never got hit by NCAA violations. He wasn't one of those coaches that went around and cut the corners and the school ends up being punished by losing. He plays within the rules of the game.
What were Texas Tech's prospects before they hired Bobby Knight?
I don't think they had any. I think they were lined up on Bobby Knight for 2 reasons. One, it brings instant legitimacy to a program. There's some kids who might not want to play for Bob Knight, but for other kids, I mean, if you're a basketball fan and if you play basketball growing up, Bobby Knight is a god. The chance to play for someone like Bob Knight is too delicious for a lot of kids to turn down.
And you would even go to Lubbock, Texas, for this?
Lubbock, Texas, lovely Texas Tech. Absolutely. Bob Knight's going to brings a lot of attention to their program, and he's clearly a fantastic basketball coach. If he can keep himself in check, you know,
can.
sort of a second chance. I have a hard time. I was hoping that he would stay away for a couple of years, so that he kind of got the bite of what happened. You know, he was fired, now he's hired again. I don't think he's felt any.
No, give up Bobby Knight getting better. He'll be a great coach. He'll graduate his kids. He'll play clean and fight hard, and he's going to act out because he doesn't know how else to do that.
But the thing is, I mean, he acts out in the same way. I've sort of got friends that act out like that. He doesn't punch anybody in the head. Nobody's been, you know, physically harmed by Bobby Knight. It's all these sort of juvenile tirades. And yeah, we'll see how.
Some of this stuff, it's chance that nobody. You throw a chair around. You threw something to the secretary in the dean's office or something.
Apparently, what happened? He came out of the dean's office. There was a secretary in the room. He picked up a plant and threw it against a wall. She was in the room.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't throwing it at her. He wasn't trying to hurt her. And even she will admit it. And he said, yeah, it was out of line. I was really upset. He said, I didn't even know she was there when I came out. I was just really upset, and I picked up the plant, threw it against the wall. Well, I've known lots
just like almost anybody would.
Well, you know, I think we hold the older I get, I'm a mere 32 as compared to your 78. But the older I get, the more I realize that very few adults or people in general are wrapped all that tightly. That everybody has a series of
When's
incidences.
the last time you saw somebody at one of the places where you worked throw a potted plant against the wall as an expression of his unhappiness?
I haven't seen the potted plant, but I've seen people have full-blown meltdowns where they're yelling and screaming for no reason, or they're crying, or you know, there's histrionics, and you think, A, that's fantastically unprofessional. B, you know, it's really, it just looks bad. And I don't understand how they'd maintain their jobs. But when you look at just sort of behavior in general, I can't speak to outside the United States, but in the United States, you know, you have all kinds of crimes being committed all the time by politicians, by parents, by, you know, people's behavior is not like we would like it to be all the time. That there are these moments where people lose it, and he's lost it a couple times. Unfortunately, cameras follow the guy around 24/7. If cameras followed me around 24/7, I probably would never have a job.
Very interesting home movies.
Yeah. B, I'd probably be in jail. I mean, who of us out there could stand that type of scrutiny? And in that chair that he threw, he knew what he was doing. He just kind of skidded it across the floor. It didn't hit anybody. Nobody got hurt. He knew what he was doing. He was just trying to make a point.
And Gary Hart has taught us the inadvisability of inviting the cameras to follow us around 24/7.
Right. Now, look how many people loved Gary Hart. What a high moral standard he was setting. What a Tony's issues, you know.
What a moron.
What monkey business.
Anyway, we're done with it.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on
Lubbock,
Bob,
Texas. Well, no problem. Texas Tech is on its way. And what else is happening in sports? Stanford's still in there.
Stanford is still in there. What we're talking about is the NCAA tournament, the college basketball.
One topic I had one feeble grasp on, but no.
The NCAA tournament starts out. We've talked about it the last couple of weeks. 64 teams, and then it's halved every time that there is a round. We are now at what they call the Elite Eight,
which includes not only Stanford but our daughter and sister school, Arizona Wildcats.
The Pac-10, which is the conference that all of us live in, the Pacific 10 Conference, is extremely well represented in this year's Elite Eight. Each one of these, I'm just
computer files.
I'm going to the computer, exactly, firing up my hard drive. The games, the Elite Eight, today's games, we've got Stanford versus Maryland. And, oh, God, Stanford, number 1 seed, looking great, been number 1 throughout most of the year. They're going to have a hard time with Maryland. Maryland is a very, very good team. You get to these level of teams, all of these teams at this level can practically beat about half the NBA teams out there. Cincinnati gave the Stanford sort of a run for their money, and Maryland is more Cincinnati than Cincinnati is. They're big, fast, athletic. They can go inside, they can go outside. This is good. This should be a good game. That's today at 1:40, so that should be a lot of fun. Duke versus USC. USC being another Pac-10 team.
Boy, yet another.
Absolutely, and the Pac-10 is they've sort of got this feeling like they're the ugly stepchild of college basketball. All the Big East teams and the ACC teams, Duke, Maryland, North Carolina, those teams, they get all the press. They're on TV all the time. Being on the West Coast, all of our games are on in the middle of the night on the East Coast, and they don't get a lot of attention. So it's nice to see that these unheralded Pac-10 teams going. Duke versus USC. Duke should absolutely destroy USC. That is going to be my guess right here, right now. I think USC is playing a little bit over their heads. Tomorrow, we've got Michigan State versus Temple. Temple being an 11 seed playing against a number 1 seed. If Temple wins this game, it'll be one of the major upsets in the history of the NCAA. Hard to see it happening. And Illinois versus our own sisters, Arizona. That should be a very good game. This is the time of the year.
That's tomorrow?
That's tomorrow. If you want to watch, if you're only going to watch a couple of basketball games in your life, this is the time to sort of sit down and see, what is all the hoopla about? And see, Final Four. What are they talking about? Because it doesn't get much better than this. So it should be a lot of fun. This is going to be a great weekend.
Is it possible? Is it theoretically possible? Never mind what the likelihood. Theoretically possible for this to come down to Stanford and the Wildcats.
Stanford and the Wildcats? I don't have the brackets right in front of me. They are Arizona's in the Midwest. I think we would meet them. Yeah, but it might be possible. I don't know. I don't have the brackets in front of me.
That's fine.
Unfortunately, my computer doesn't have the brackets filled in for me.
The web page with the brackets on is not loading.
No, and I'm a little underprepared today. I got up a little late. I'll be the first to admit it. 663-8492 if you want to join our discussion of all things sports. So I'm definitely going to get home by 1:40 Channel 5. I'm pitching Channel 5. That's not. Well, I've got no financial stake in it, but
that's true. No, but they're loyalty issues.
I know, exactly. I work at Channel 4. But anyway, I will go out of my way to watch that.
Now, the last time I was here, we were still talking about the Sharks acting like a power in big playoff hopes, and I turn around, and the Sharks are beached.
I'm stunned silent. Can you repeat that? I want to hear your insight into the NHL, because I'll pull up the standings right now.
That's a hard drive whirring. I was here a couple of weeks ago. I missed one show. When I was here a couple of weeks ago and we did hockey, the Sharks were on top. The Sharks were going to the playoffs. The Sharks were mowing down everybody in their path. I heard, I think the Sharks have dropped 12 of their last 13 or something like that.
The Sharks are in free fall. They made a huge trade. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago to get Teemu Selanne, and they've just been in free fall ever since. They are in second place in the Pacific Division, but they are going to be struggling for a playoff spot. They used to be right behind. They were 1 point behind the Dallas Stars, who are in first, but now Dallas is 11 points up, which is a lot in hockey. They don't know what happened. They are not sure exactly how to right that ship. They got kind of the same guys. They're playing kind of the same. It's just the puck's bouncing against them. They're definitely hitting a dry streak. They'll make the playoffs, I think, but they were kind of earlier in the year. They're going to go deep. They've got Stanley Cup aspirations.
Yeah.
Now it's just, can we get to the playoffs and not get embarrassed? So how far we have fallen in a couple of weeks is we're not going to talk about the Warriors too much in basketball because they've dropped about 14 of everything. Let's see, the Warriors have won 16 games this year, and they've lost 52. They are 30.5 games out of first place.
That's a considerable distance.
Yeah, even in basketball, where their playoff system is completely a joke, they practically let everybody in. The Warriors aren't even within shouting distance of the playoffs. Another very, very, very bad year for the Warriors. Decimated by injuries. They've developed a habit of playing very good up until about the last 6 minutes, and then just falling apart and letting teams come in and stomp all over them. So we don't know really what to say about the Warriors. Those of you who are regular listeners to the show know that I go out of my way to bring you English Premier League soccer results every week. And last week, I didn't do it.
What?
I know. It was a sad state of... Well, it had nothing to do with you. You think,
sure. I'm not here. It doesn't happen, but it's got nothing to do with me.
When's the last time you brought in the scores?
Okay, I wasn't here. Okay.
All right, that's what I thought. Manchester United, those of you who are regular listeners are like, who are these? What is this team, Manchester United? They are perennially, they are always in first place. It's been a long time since Manchester United was in second or third. They are the dominant power in soccer in England for sure. But we always bring this up because we want to talk about good, nice little Chelsea, so that we can let Muriel Murch, our beloved former program director, I guess.
Yes, she's been supplanted now.
Supplanted her standings because she is a big Chelsea fan. Well, we're going to go through the teams that are above Chelsea right now. Chelsea's dropped a bit. Manchester United in first, Arsenal in second, Ipswich in third.
Like Ipswich. I just like the sound of it.
You do? Would you like to live in Ipswich? So you could have that on your...
Yes,
I live in Ipswich. Sunderland is in fourth, Leeds is in fifth, Liverpool is in sixth, Leicester is in seventh, Southampton is in eighth, and Chelsea coming in at 9th. Dropped a couple of positions from the last time we checked in on them, but we still love our Chelsea, whatever they are.
Yes.
We root very strongly for them. So there you go, Muriel. Chelsea's now in 9th place.
Maybe it's just Chelsea.